The Proactive Parenting Academy invites you to a one-week-long parenting conference with 20 speakers from around the world: Nigeria, USA, UK, Sweden, Australia, Asia, amongst others. Theme: Proactive Parenting at a Time Like This. Date: 22nd August till 27th August 2022. Time: 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Venue: live on the Proactive Parenting Academy pages on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Speakers: Vivian Ijoma Ani, convener, Dr. Ife Obano, Dr. Vivian Okoye, Professor E.A. Itoma, Professor Umwacha Ogechukwu, Runke Adeniyi, Prince Alex Madujemo, Fina Chichi, Professor Henry Odianose Imonde, Sandra Oluwadare, Chris Chokonyeri, Deaconess Ijoma Uba Onjuku, Ade Jones, Seun David Olurinde, Nene Chinyemirim Oluwagbonhu, Mohe Francis Oko, Mabeth Chima, Chinyere Obina, Meme Boham. Come, let's build more capacity for productive parenting.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon and welcome to the second day of the Proactive Parents Conference. Thank you for joining. I'm already seeing people who have joined already in today's session. Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Share the link with your family and friends. Let everybody know that something is happening. Something great is happening in this channel. And it's such a huge blessing for parents of young children, your intending parents, and everybody at large. Because today is blessing all of us. It's a blessing to everyone that will be here now or later. So subscribe to our YouTube channel as soon as you get in here so you don't have interruptions trying to watch any of the sessions. Please subscribe, share the link, and let everybody in your circle know that something is happening here. So today is the second session, and we are having three other great speakers that speaking to us on different topics. Our first speaker today, Mrs. Seun David Olurinde, is here already. We'll be bringing her in a moment. But before then, we will read her profile and also introduce the moderator of today. We will be having a moderator who will be helping us moderate today's session, and we will introduce the both of them before the session kicks off. So welcome and thank you for being here. We don't take it for granted that you're taking your time to be part of this conference and also letting everybody in your circle know that something great is happening. Thank you for being here. We'll be taking Seun's bio in a moment, and then afterwards we'll take it up from there.
Seun David Olurinde. He is a life management coach and consultant, founder, Diva by Design Resources Company. Please, make welcome Seun David Olurinde.
Hey, sis.
Hi.
We can't see you yet.
Oh, but can you hear me, please? I don't know why you can't see me. Can you hear me?
Can't see you yet. Okay. I think the network is trying to play funny today.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay, I think
Check
can
your
you see me
camera.
now?
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Welcome. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining, for being here. We
Thank
know
you
you have
for
a tight
having me.
schedule. We know all of that, and we don't take it for granted that you're taking your time to come share with us today. We are so grateful. Thank you for being here. So you will be we'll be leaving the floor for you. The next time you see the moderator come up, then you'll be rounding up your session. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay, so how long do I have in all, please?
Okay, you have 45 minutes, to do your session and then take your questions and all that. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you. Hello, proactive parents. I am a proactive parent because I chose to be one, and I want to believe that every one of us that are here this afternoon, you made the same choice because I could have been any kind of parent, you know. Since it's not like I mean, any one of us could be any kind of parent. It's not like they handed over a specific manual to us when we gave birth to our children. What made me become a proactive parent was what happened to me one night after my first few months of becoming a biological parent. I'm saying parent a lot. I'm talking to parents. It made me a little bit nervous. I'm not like Mrs. Annie. Okay. I had an epiphany. That was what happened. That was what changed me. So, like I said, it's not like I got a manual that told me what to be when I became a biological parent. And the epiphany can be summarized as in one statement. And that statement is this. Let me just say the whole story right now, just put it together in one statement. And that's what I'll be talking about today. Life is dictated by choices, and my choices determine my life chores. All right. My name is Seun David Olurinde, as has been said, and I really would like to pronounce that name again for emphasis. Olurinde. My name is Seun David Olurinde. I help people find their core to master the business of their life. I'm a life management coach at Diva by Design Resource Company. I'm happy today to be called on to speak to you about the place of life management in effective parenting. It's a privilege to be in your face, and I celebrate the effort of the Proactive Parent Academy for putting this together, particularly the passionate parenting coach, Mrs. Vivian Ijoma Annie. Thank you so much for having me. So I'll break what I want to say down simply into talking about just these two terms: chores and choices. Chores and choices. So life management for me is what people would just call time management. I mean, it's time management in essence, but the thing is, your life is measured in time. Without you can manage time because you're alive. Okay, so basically that's the resource you have, and that's the resource we manage at Diva by Design Resource Company. Whatever has to do with putting your life together so that you can maximize your time, that's what we deal with. So today, talking to parents, I thought, chores will be something that we really need to look into, because the bulk of the management of our life as parents is circulates around this chores. Okay, there are two key factors to managing our lives effectively. If there is anything parents particularly have to deal with every day, both for themselves and for others in their care, is these two things: chores, choices. Okay, so I figured within the few minutes I have to share a better zoning on that. All right. And then after that, I can show you my strategy for kicking daily goals into submission. I like to also say that whenever I introduce myself and say, "Oh, I'm a life management coach. I train in time management and all that," people just automatically assume that, I have everything in place. I've got everything in order. Like, pam, 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 all the time. I'm always on time on my goals and all that. Well, maybe I should bust your bubbles. I am not always on time on everything. The key word here is always. It's not always. But then after we're done today, I will be able to show you, I hope, how I kick my daily goals despite the challenges, despite the circumstances I could find myself, because that's the crux of what I really love to help people deal with. Okay, so would you like that? And I would appreciate if you please stay with me for the remaining 30 minutes that I have. Choice and choices. Chores are necessities of life broken down into predictable pieces of activities within identifiable periods. That's the way I describe it. Choice are necessities of life, broken down into predictable pieces of activities within identifiable periods, while I'll describe choices as um, choices are rigid definitions of personal life opinions. Okay, so it's interesting, when you really begin to stop looking at these two terms right now that I'm talking about as just mere words and see it in the line of what I'm describing. But nonetheless, don't take just my word for it. I wrote down and I've been trying to make sure my screen doesn't go off. I want to read out what I found the dictionary. Um, whenever we talk about chores, okay, when you hear chores, your brows furrow into depths, of tasks. You're thinking about task immediately. And anytime you hear the word task, it looks like, oh, I've got to do something. I have work to do. Okay, so this is what I found from the dictionary. Okay, chores means a routine task or a tedious but necessary task. So it looks like more like what we think about and we relate to. While choices means to pick or to decide. And this is quite simple until you have to decide if you want a boy or a girl and you ended up with a set of twins instead. That's when you know that choice is not something that is, picking and deciding may not always be as simple as it sounds. In life, those words are not just speaking terms, they are living terms. Okay? And I dwelt on these definitions because I really want you to start thinking about that very well. As parents, all right, the things that we have to do as parents many times does not give us options. And if you have to make choices within no option, it's quite interesting. But I won't jump ahead. Let me just take it one step after the other. So, um, to determine our life, whether it is effective or not, you have to identify where these two factors align. Really, you have to decide, um, even for yourself. Okay, it's something you have to wake up to. It's something you have to actively get involved in. Let me just digress a little. I I'm in Nigeria. There are certain things that are preeminent, where our culture is concerned in Africa, and it relates to the way you deal with elderly people, guests, and all. We cannot say particularly that we have the luxury of, in other parts of the world, sometimes you hear that some women can say things like, oh, my mother-in-law is coming. I really would not be having time, so I can tell her don't come, or maybe they come and say, look, I will not be available to help, even if you have, house help. There are certain things that will be expected of you, both as the African culture, allows, and then the the etiquette that you just have for having guests. So I'm saying this because something happened to me recently. This time it's not actually my mother-in-law. My mom, came to visit, and I had so much I wanted to do. Before she came, I told her I'm going to be busy. When she came, every time, every opportunity I had, I told her I'm going to be busy. I'm going to have things to do. But despite all that I've said and how much she understands, I discovered that I still had to spend many periods of my day just listening to gist and backlogs of gist and just keeping her company and saying things like, are you okay? Are you fine? Is there something you would need? And all of that. Now it got me thinking, as much as we could make plans for our lives and just want to we think that we can just bamboozle our way to certain things. There are certain things as well that you will not see coming. So I never put it down that I am going to have to spend this amount of time gisting with my mom. But I found myself in a situation where several times I tried to extricate myself, but I couldn't. And these tend to happen in life. Okay, there are certain things that we would, that's what I mean the other time, that you can make choice when you have options, but sometimes you don't get, life does not even place options in front of you. What do you do at that particular time? So to determine your life whether it's effective or not, you have to have identified where these two factors align with your daily living. The chores, what are your chores, and choices, when are you making them? Whenever you make a plan, you identify a choice trying to make its way into a chore. So when we say time, plan your time. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, and all that. In actual sense, what you're doing is every time you make a plan, it's a choice that is in that time that you are creating the plan is finding its way to becoming a chore. So I just said now that you need to be able to identify your chores, and you need to also know when you are making the choices. Okay, whenever you set goals, you have automatically created chores. So even if you're not making plan, whether the goals are yours or it is someone else's that you're taking, you have created a chore for yourself. There is a chore inside the goal. So automatically, every time you say, this is the goal, you have created a chore. The downside, it has both downside and upside, actually, of chores. The downside is, I think the repetitive effect is both down and up. Let me just, so the downside is that chores can bore and test you. It's okay when you are naturally the kind of person that wakes up early, and you do the dishes, or maybe you don't do it, or probably put your um, household staff to do the things that you have to do, and then you have somebody taking care of your children. I mean, I'm trying to create the scenario that should seem the easiest. It's nice when you do it every once in a while, but when it becomes something that you do every day, it can become boring. Now, when you now start doing it, not because you want to do it, but because you have to do it, now it tests your patience. And that's what I want you to see in the aspect of chores. Okay, so the repetitive part of it, the fact that you continually have things you have to do, can put you in those two scenarios. Now, the upside of chores is that it automates your outcomes. It's like you going to the gym. Okay, you have to go to the gym to get the result that you want in your health or in your looks. Okay, now going there every day, when you and then after some happen. Okay, after some time you don't want to go again. I think you're still seeing me. You don't want to go again. Now the upside of it is, if you can pass through that place, that test of boredom and the frustration, the routine have the ability to automate the results. So automatically you are going to get the results. And I'm going to keep using the word chore right now. So every single day you wake up and do some certain things. For example, I know that in Proactive Parent Academy, the focus is on parents of young children. You know that the ages of your children determines even the things that you do, the kind of chores you have to do. So at a particular time, I used to, I still enjoy praying by myself. But at a particular time in the ages of my children, my husband and I, we had to imbibe sitting together and praying with them. Now we're gradually moving to the point where they pray by themselves as siblings together, and they pray alone. But there was a time when we had to do it as a matter of choice. And I mean, did I say choice? As a matter of, well, choice, we decided anyway, because we knew where we were. Okay. And there, in this situation, okay, this chore became something that, even if my husband and I had an argument in our room, by the time we come to the living room, we have to settle it, because we have to create this thing. Remember, proactive. We have to create this particular reality that we want. And to get to that reality, this chore must be handled. So let's look at it from a parenting angle. When you get married, you made a choice that determines your predisposition to becoming responsible for another human. That is it. Whether you have children or not, the moment you got married, you have just made a choice, and that puts you in you automatically become. So whether you are the man, you're responsible for your wife. Whether you are the wife, you're responsible for your husband in your degree of responsibility. That is. So I'm not going to go into you get what I'm saying. So you become responsible for another human even before a child comes. Perhaps in your system of working your home, there are certain things you're going to have to put in place, whether it is the megad you have to deal with or the cook or something. You automatically put yourself in that you become responsible, for another human. And when you became pregnant, whenever you become pregnant or adopt a child, you set that predisposition into a lifetime chore. That's where I'm going. So careers can be totally switched, but no parent ever comes back the same once they have set foot on that journey. This is where I'm going. So you have a child, you are never the same again. You lose a child, you are never the same again. This does not even begin to speak about whether you gave birth to that child biologically or is adopted. And I would really like us to start thinking like that, because it falls into the category of me gisting with my mom and not having it on my timeline for the day. Okay, these are things that understanding this position is the beginning of your effectiveness. If you really get to see, and this is why I'm zoning in on choices and chores. Okay, the issue many times is that we do not even know when we are making the choices. All right, so on becoming an effective parent, your starting point is to stop making uninformed choices. I think that's where the key is in being proactive. You've got to stop making uninformed choices. Now, it's as simple as asking the right questions per time and not slipping into mere assumptions. We've been asking this particular question, for instance, and we ask it wrongly. Only God knows for how long, because I heard it. I asked the question too before I became a practical parent. Said, how many children do you want to have? Wrong. The right question should be, how many children can I have? Or how many children can you have? That's right. Can speaks to your ability and capacity. It speaks to your potentials. Would is a wish that only at best it tantalizes your emotions. Like, oh, I really love to have 6 children. I used to be that girl. Don't dare me with that now. But never necessarily move into reliable decisions. Saying, would you like to have, it does not, you don't know that you're actually making, in fact, you're not even making a decision. So it's possible that you're just slipping into assumptions and you let situations wake you up. You let circumstances wake you up. And sometimes it takes broken marriage to wake up. Sometimes it takes broken children before we wake up. So we've got to stop making uninformed choices. All right. If you make a choice based solely on would, the latter part, you stand a chance of living on chores you would not handle well and would ultimately not be effective at. You will not even be effective at your life, not just the chores. So before I can talk about effective parenting, you've got to come to understanding how this thing plays key roles in your daily living. All right. So a girl child that is fighting her parents and saying, I'm old enough to have a boyfriend and probably, a teenager and all that. The issue is not actually your age. The decision you're making is not whether you can have a boyfriend. The decision you're making is whether you're ready to take a lifelong chore. And many times you can't even answer that question yet, because you've got to understand some things before you can be informed about the choice you're making. So as far as you can see is what you are deciding. But you've got to cross some certain ages, seen some certain things before you can actually. So many times, I just use that example right now to see how we make uninformed choices. So sometimes some of us say, oh, I'd like to have a girl child. I'd like to have a girl. You never knew that you're signing up for a chore of taking your girl child to the salon every Saturday. Here I am. You know, I had boys initially, so I was thinking how it would be so nice to have a girl, you know. But I just told you, I just exposed myself. It's one chore I don't like. I don't like making my hair, you know, and my girl too. So we're just that tender scalp people and all that. But I have to go and face the excruciating pain of watching my daughter cry. Sometimes she doesn't want to cut her hair. We kept it for some time. I was plaiting it at home. She has quite enormous, you know, volume of hair, and she needs help at the salon. I can't give her anymore. And so we had to factor that in. And now I became a parent of a kindergartner. And then when she was in kindergarten, they have to go and be taking special permission from school to say, please, can you permit me? This is the kind of thing I can do with my daughter's hair for now. We cannot be changing hair every week. So we do this every other week, or you give us for months, for a month at least. But okay, we do every other week because no school will take that anyway. But I pushed a while. Why am I sharing? I'm letting you see, you know, and the kind of job that I do would not even allow, you know, there are so many things I don't even want to go to now because there's no time. So you don't get to see. If anyone had told me when I was trying to get a girl child that these are the things I need to look out for, I probably still want to understand. I say, oh no, I'm going to wake up every Saturday morning and sit with her and plait her hair. That is not the case, you know. So, excuse me. If you make a choice based on just you stand a chance of just living on chores. Now, whenever you make uninformed choices, you have just allowed all manner of chores to enter into your life, both the ones you need and the ones you don't need, and that's how your time gets stolen. I hope you can see where this ties up to your time and ultimately to your life. Now, on making informed choices, let me tell you a story, okay? And you might like the story. um this is the first time I'm sharing it. I think I only shared it once with my husband, you know, and even it was after some years. So really, you're getting private uh, knowledge of part of my life here. So I had this mentor some years ago, shortly before I got married, okay? And it was a particular line, the direction of my life that I thought I was going at that particular time. So I did a lot to just get this person to mentor me. I mean, she practically pushed me to someone else, and I still came back. She had tried, so I was determined. So the person I'm about to talk about is not someone that I do not regard at all, even till now. Someone that I still regard a lot, okay? You know, but something happened. So in the process of my relationship with her, in the time of processing my relationship with her, you know, I got into her business, and I became part of the people like a core group, you know, where we work, we do things with our brand, we help to do some things in our brand anyway. I will just leave it at that. So one of those workshops I attended, and she happened to be the one speaking to us on that particular day. And along the line, I don't remember what quite led to me having to share some things, you know. So we were called on to say different things, and I think I got up to say something because it was what transpired between us that is significant in this story. So that's where I'm rushing to. So I got up, and in the midst of when I started talking, so I mentioned something like, okay, so I said something that showed a wide gap between a particular time frame and the time I was reporting on. I told you I met her shortly before I got married, and so by the time I was talking to her, I was married. I had a child, my first child then, and so along the line, I was like, oh, I did this in this particular, and then I did it. I was like, what happened and all that, and I said, oh, that it was, you know. So I was looking for a way out. Yeah, I remember now. I was looking for a way out to just say what I had to say without telling so much. So I just said, motherhood happened. And she's like, no, 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 no. You don't say that. You don't say that. Then she shut me up quite, you know, right there. Okay. And didn't let me continue. And then said to others and said, that, you know, I've always told you guys, you must never, ever say because you're a mother that this is what you can't do or this and all of those things. Now, some of the things she said, I understood then and even understand well now. However, the reason I'm telling you the story will soon unfold to you. So when she said that, I felt bad, okay, and I sat down. Like I said, I never And then she didn't even let me continue. And of course, my morale had dropped. So I, my head was swimming in what she had said, and then just kept on listening, in motion, just doing things in motion. And in the process of her, moving to other things and talking to us, she just looked up and noticed that her driver, she came with her driver. The car was parked right in front of the venue we were using. And it was when she spoke that we all realized that her children were in the car. So she said, the car was no longer there. So they're like, where's my car? Like, where is it? She now said, please. So she tried the driver, and I think it was not connecting. And then she was a bit, shaky at that moment. And she was like, she just went and was like, please, so you guys are going to have to wait. So please hold on, please. Because this one, children, let me know where my children are. Because if not, I will leave you people here and go. So she bragged right there, and even showed it that she would immediately drop us to look after her own children. And she had just told me I was coming from a place of I became a biological mom just 3 months after, and there was fire incidents in my house that displaced us from where we were, and for a total of 12 months we could barely get, in fact, not we were not getting ourselves. We lost things, because now wherever we could where we could move to, I mean, it was just a whole lot of story that I probably should be sharing it somewhere else, So the me and probably my husband, of course, individually having that situation, we would have probably a parent, or you can stay at your parents' home. Somebody else will be responsible. But first of all, we had to live where we were living to start with, because of the age of our baby at that time. Because the doctor said we can't, no matter how the house was, we cannot manage that house. We tried to get another place, we could not. So every decision we made from that point on, my child controlled it. So it means even when we were going to a place to go and live that was quite far from every other thing that we were doing, we had to consider him first. Our car and all the things. So I can't begin to say all the things that went involved. And how many things do I want to say? And of course, it's not in a workshop like that. When I was still trying to beef off my CV, I'll now start talking all the story, to her. So I just mentioned that, by the way. And she said all that. But, there are several people that could be in that same meeting that day. And that will form a life decision. Now, these are the lessons that I want to bring out from that story, and I think will help. And if I stop here, I would know that I've done something. Don't assume a role you are not capable of handling. Do not. And the key here is for you to understand what your capacity is right now. Because that's how we end up with chores we never bargained for. And by now, you should know from all that I've been saying, I am not just talking about chores of washing dishes alone, but it's also inclusive. I'm talking about chores that are involved in being responsible for another human's life, your children, your words. So don't assume a role that you are not capable. There was a time when I could not, as a matter of capacity, take any household staff. And my capacity runs around my value as well. I will not employ anybody that cannot be treated with dignity. So if I don't have enough rooms to, house a domestic staff, I am not I don't have the capacity to take another. If I'm going to take in a young child, for instance, to say, the way they do it in the country here, say, we're just doing this, and they have the name. I'm not even going to dignify it by calling it. We're going to take somebody. I have to be able to send this person to school. And if I cannot, then I don't have the capacity. So I have to look for other ways of handling my parental responsibilities. My husband and I, actually. So there was a time in our life when my husband was the one that used to do the laundry, for a very long time. And there was a time when he no longer, in fact, now he no longer does the laundry, except as a matter of necessity. Maybe I need to sleep and he needs to stand by washing machine to just do some things overnight. Maybe things like that happen. So because before now you now go and hear and say, this person say her husband does not do laundry again. As parents, we must see it as, and I'm personally not saying mom or dad today. Parent is a parent. There is no mom or dad choice. A parent is a parent. I'll just move on. So don't assume a role you are not capable of handling. Know your capacity. Okay? Once you take in a role, you already, have set aside chores for yourself to do. I'll move on. Don't play catch up with people you know little more than nothing about. So what I was trying to share with my mentor then was, I needed time between this time and this time to restructure my life, to be able to have the capacity to do the things I was now doing. And no matter how much you would have preferred I sugar-coated it, motherhood was a large chunk of it. And I can't even go into details now, but some of us will understand. Okay. So, and then the second part, don't play catch up with people you know little more than nothing about. If that incident did not happen with our children, imagine me going home and telling my husband, you know what, this is what I heard, blah, blah, blah. Or I tell my children, you people can't tie me down. You people can't do this. You people can't do that. I mean, this is someone that's ready to leave a multi-million naira business at that time, just to go and look for her children. So you better make sure you know people well enough before you start trying to play catch up with them. If I would advise you, it's better not to play catch up with anybody. Catch up with yourself first. Catch up with your potentials. Understand your pace. The third lesson is understand your pace. Pace, 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 pace. P-A-C-E. We miss that a lot whenever we are scheduling. When we schedule, we say things like, let's say you have a meeting, you are the kind of person like let's say what I do now. So I run different sessions during the day. I'm seeing different clients online and all that. So I will not, there's this thing on the calendar. It's called buffer. So when you're trying to pre-schedule your time that is available for others, okay, it shows you that time that you can choose. You need to decide. Now, my pace is that there are certain kind of clients or sessions that I can't accept except to give me 24-hour notice. And there are certain types that I cannot accept except to give me a week notice. You need to understand your pace. Now, there are certain things I will not take on some certain days. All right? And now some of these things can change in the next 1 year, 2 years, depending on the age of my children. Understand your pace. Okay? So some people are getting there faster than you. It's because you're looking at it wrongly. You're not looking at it from your own pace. You see, there's this other, I don't remember right now, but something about both the snail and the cheetah, they got to Noah's Ark. That's what matters. They got to the Noah's Ark. Cheetah can run, and snail, whenever you hear snail, it crawls and takes time. So it will be anomaly for a snail to have the speed of a cheetah, then it will no longer be a snail. But the bottom line is both of them go to Noah's Ark. So you better understand your pace, okay? Even when you are making right choices based on external counsel. So I'm still talking about that third lesson. So if that incident didn't happen, and I just taken what my mentor said, hook, line, and sinker that day, I would have missed my pace. I would be trying to do the right thing at the wrong time. And then it could lead to more frustration. And possibly this is how some people tend to become, dissatisfied with relationships in their life. My relationship has been better, not just with mentors, not with people and my friends, but everyone around me. The more I understand my pace, okay? Learn your pace. So why you should make life choices rather than only live for chores, just in case you've not heard me since. Parenting will overwhelm you. Suck out the life of you. I see, if you like, go to church on Sunday and pray against it. All of us must chop this breakfast. Permit me to use that lingo. Parenting will overwhelm you, suck out the life of you, unless you know who you are, or at least actively engage in the choices involved in becoming who you are. Because they are so with potential is who we are, but our reality and capacity is determined in that process of becoming. Okay, so I could have the potential to be the president of my country, but I have to become. They are two different things. So the potential is not enough. That place of becoming is the process that we all go through. All right. So if you think that parenting is just you give birth to a child or a child is put in your care, then you need to think again. And that's why I'm not selling, but if I sell, it's not too bad. It's their platform. I really love what Mrs. Ijoma is doing. Proactive parenting is something key, you know, for us right now, for our generation and the generations to come. God help us. So you begin to live for trust if you don't know who you are. And you won't know who you are if you sleep on what purpose is. What's your purpose? And purpose is not something that um, is is that gigantic that we can't even figure out. Like I think I think it's getting better now. We are being taught better right now. We know, but just in case you don't know, purpose. I'm not saying you are looking for it like it is lost. Your purpose shows up every single day. And I'll just stop it there. It shows up every single day. Understanding it, and being able to recognize it is in the place of your process. So you can't dump your process and expect to find your purpose. You won't. All right. I'll now move on. So if you don't have your purpose, if you don't have that purpose, if you don't understand it, and let me also add that purpose, it grows. Okay, it grows on you. All right. So if you don't understand what your outcome should be at this point in your time or in your life, okay, you will begin to live for choice. Anything goes. No matter what you do, find yourself first. No matter what you do. So now, as a parent, I'll now say, before you become a parent, find yourself. And if you're already a parent, okay, it's still not late. Start finding yourself, okay? Because many are doing without being. Just do, do, do. I have to do, I have to do, I want to do, I want to do, I want to do. In Diva by Design Resource Company, we don't emphasize on to do, to do, to do, do, in as much as we actually use it. But is a tool for management, all right? But the core message that's a message, the core motivation that I want to get with my clients is for them to find their core, to maximize what they have to the ultimate outcome of doing it from a place of rest, from a place of fulfillment, from a place of happiness, rest, basically. So if you're doing, and you can run that, I have this, I want to do this, I want to do that, and you don't even know how to be. You would achieve so many things and still not enjoy yourself. All right. Your children, for instance, are not the reason you are angry and you're always screaming at them, or you lose it. Many of us have been there. Maybe not everybody, but I have been there. You have an anger issue. That's the thing. And parenting just provided the exact environment for your weakness to show up. That's just it. So they are not the reason you are screaming. No. You say, these children, these things. I mean, I used to be there and then get stressed up for no reason. And now, even these days, I tell them, say, no, I'm not going to stress myself about this. We will have this conversation after. I'll just go to your room. We can talk later. Because I've discovered this. So many times, my agitation and palpitation and aspire is only because of my own life. Something is, not settled. So I've learned to begin to have conversations like this with my children, like, you know what, I missed my client's call, or something like, oh, somebody is about to take mommy's business, and I just missed it. So now I feel so bad, and I'm trying to use some of those things I taught you, to do better next time. So right now, mommy is not just in a very good place. I'm sorry if I snapped at you. Can you give me a little while? And sometimes they actually offer to help. They try to give me board meeting related advices in my bedroom, because I and so but I got there because I learned, and I'm still learning how to be me. So I be first. Let me use that word. I be first, and then I can do from my being. And the doing can lead me to my becoming. But you've got to be first, okay? Your children are not the reason you don't have money. Let me also use that instance, because that's another thing. You say things like, it's because of you. I've been there too. So I'm not judging anybody. But I'm saying what I'm saying to you because this is what I have come to learn and I've taken my medicine, okay? Your children are not the reason you have no money. Lack of actual financial plan is the reason. And that still boils down to choices. So, yeah, your parents used to hit you at any opportunity they had. You never, they screamed at you, you didn't get money. It does not mean, because in that instance, when you start saying they did this to me and you're doing it to your children, you're making a choice that is not even informed. Some of our parents didn't know better. Some of them also made uninformed choices that made them to do that. And so that's how generational curses starts. Let's just move. So in the scenarios I just painted, you could live your life entirely broken emotionally as an individual, just going through day-to-day chores brought about by poor life choices. Okay. On the other hand, you could restart, make a choice, and begin to create your own chores. And this is how you take charge of your life. So that's why I told you I am a proactive parent. And I said that confidently, not because of what I had done years ago, but because of the decision I made and I keep making every day after that. This is how you stay true and handle stressful situations better. Many times I've watched some of the, I couldn't watch every, but I've seen some clips of the session, and I noticed that a lot has been said about our emotional intelligence as parents. Many of us have got to deal with different things in our lives, and we are still dealing with them. And in our uninformed place, we are actually also leading the children into the same patterns. God help us. I know it's not easy, but it is doable. And if we work this together that I'm sharing with us, perhaps it can make it better for every one of us. It has made life better for me, and I hope it does the same for you. So this is how you stay true and handle stressful situations better. This is how you channel your energy more into created chores brought about by informed choices. The story I talked about that night, I had my child cradled in my arm. I was nursing him, and I burst out crying. I was weeping profusely. I was sad that my life had been taken away from me. What led me to that moment? Okay, I had made an uninformed choice. Do you know that I also waited 2 years before I had my first child, and it was a choice. Yet I was not well informed. My younger ones, I've watched my younger. I have long age gaps between myself and my younger ones, and so that with my mom. So I have some experiences about children. But let me quickly bust you on this one. To start with, I had, and all through my childbearing time, I was having big baby, like big baby. So it was after the first one when everyone was making so much noise. I'm like, do babies look different? Because this was how I've always seen all my mom's babies. This is the way they look. Even though my mom is on the plump side and I had quite a bit, I'm even bigger now. I have quite tiny, stature. So coming forward with big babies did not make sense. But so my information at that time shows that I have only seen one side, and that's my mom. I've not had experience of other babies, So I'm letting you see that even if you're in that place where it feels like, yes, you've done some things wrong and all that, you can start. The key here is just be informed. And one of the ways you can be informed is attending conferences like this, going for meetings like this, taking trainings, learning things from even friends. When I see things happening with my friends that I don't get yet, I ask them, how did you do this? What did you do here? And then I still learn, even with all that I know. So we can keep on making that informed choices. So what happened to me was I never imagined this human will be sucking my life, every night. I mean, and I would not be able to sleep. Of course, now, by the time I had my other kids, I'd become a pro. I understood how to do some other things better. My husband knows how. We learned how to, pick ourselves up. This is what you do. This is what I do. So we were able to do that. But in that moment, that was what happened to me. And honestly, if I did not have that epiphany, I I could have made a choice that day that would have ruined my entire life and ruined the life of another generation, because that boy is a seed of another generation. So I I thought I was going in the direction that my life was not meant to be, because I was judging my life by the choice that I'm facing daily. And I had a heart-to-heart talk with my husband that led to that epiphany. That, basically what he did for me that day was to help me to go back. Thankfully, we've always talked. So he said, Seun, remember what you said you wanted to do here. Remember you said you wanted to do this. Remember this. And then I could see that I was actually in line with the plan that I made for my life. But I never saw the choice coming. Since that day, the chores never changed. But because I am now the one, I am now recognized when I made the choice. It became easier for me, and I moved from the place of just living my life down to realizing that I am the active person in this situation. I am the active. Both of them are waiting. Both factors, choices, chores, are waiting for me, the factor, the active factor, to activate them in the direction that they will go. And that's how I became proactive. So if you're in this place where I was, here is my strategy for transforming your own life too into becoming better, effective parents, your better, effective self. I must say self, and then parents daily, okay? Identify the choices you've made or begin to regulate your chore if you can't identify them yet. It's possible. I had mine in the middle of the night. Some of us may not have been the kind of person that is a planner like me. So I've always been that kind of person. I plan, I schedule, and all of those things. Not today. Okay, so but I got into that. So it was easy for me to trace, and I had systems that allowed somebody near to me, the closest person to me, to help me see where I was going, okay, to help me reorganize my perspective. And now I'm so glad that I had that, by the way. I'm so glad that I had that epiphany that night. But now I'm just saying, so some of us didn't used to be like that. We're not, some of us are not even the kind of person that ever used to believe in maybe making schedules, creating to-dos, doing all of those things. But I hope that with what I've shared with you today, you begin to see the depth of it in your life and how it really affects your entire life, okay? So you may not be able to identify your chores, but you can begin to regulate your chores so that while you are gaining, when how do we manage choice and role in the family? Okay, I'll come to that. How do we manage choice and role in the family? Let me just share that, what I want to share now, and I'll keep this question in mind. Okay, so to make it simple, I created chore as an acronym. And if you have a pen, you could just put it down. Something like it's going to be fun. Okay, so you would remember, so that whatever else I tell you now, if you can get that acronym, you would always, put yourself in check where your choice is concerned. So CHORE, creative habits made in order of your life responsibilities expressed daily. C for creative, H for habits made in, O for order of your life, R for responsibilities, E for expressed daily. So it will read as a sentence: creative habits made in order of your life, responsibilities expressed daily. So whatever activity doesn't fall into the order of your life responsibilities, it may be needful but not urgent. It may be urgent but not important. Mm-hmm. Have you ever? Some of us may have. Maybe you've seen the diagram, the time management quadrant before. Urgent, important, necessary. Less important, and all of that. So that's what I'm purposefully using here. So you know how to apply that for yourself too. Whatever activity doesn't fall into the order of your life responsibilities, It may be needful but not urgent. It may be urgent but not important. If it's important, required, compulsory for the achievement of your life's ultimate goals, then it must be done before it becomes urgent. With the example I gave when I started, no matter how I have to chat with my mom or my mother-in-law or whoever I regard, the elderly around me, just to make them feel comfortable, there are certain situations that will call for me to neglect it. I will drop it immediately and face it. If, for instance, I have to meet with a client, no matter how much I say it's difficult to do, I will find a way. So that's what I'm saying there. If it is important, required, compulsory for the achievement of your life's ultimate goals, then it must be done before it becomes urgent. That's how you get your life. That's how you come in charge with your life. If you have a habit of always doing things out of urgency, every time, I mean, you're always running. I need to do. No. You're not getting it right. And the reason you're not getting it right is because you don't leave what you should do at the time you should do it till another time, and then later you expect to catch up. So playing catch up doesn't help, and it doesn't help you to rest. No matter how minute or great that task might be daily, try to follow this. Creative. Be creative with the things you want to do. Habits. It becomes a habit. That's where the choice comes. And let it follow the order of your life. Your responsibilities are chosen by your purpose, and you express it every day. For instance, picking up poop for toddlers are part of your life responsibilities. If you're a child of, you're a parent of toddlers, it's part of it. We don't write this down. And sometimes you just finish, there, and maybe your husband comes, maybe you're the one that stays at home, or your wife. I told you I'm not going to be telling, this is a parent's job. So the other party comes home and like, what have you been doing? How come you're tired? You might just say, oh, I spent time cooking and then I did some, but you never talk about how many times you have to bend your back, to pick up poop, wipe the floor, wash the toilet, flush, and, a lot of things. Or pumping machine stopped and there was no water, and then you had to, so you don't remember all of that it was just picking up poop that led you to that. It happens. So these are your responsibilities. This is what happens every day. If you're a parent with no living nanny anyway, this doesn't usually find its way into our to-do list, like I said, but it must be done. The informed choice you made is your understanding of how this seemingly insignificant task adds up to you raising an independent child, individual or adult someday. So there was a time in my life, my slogan was, whenever I get tired, I say, this will pass. I understand what I was saying. I have a plan. I know what I want to achieve as a parent. So many times when I feel like, I don't do again, I remember where I'm going and I say this will pass, because I know that this is a process and it is a stage, and truly it is passing. There are chores I don't even do in this house anymore because of the age of my children. So the creative part is your unique way of attending to that task. All right. If you have a nanny, you could probably say, nanny can do this. You would have given a rule. This is how you attend to this when this happens. That's where you save yourself stress, because just having a nanny too does not mean that everything gets sorted in your house. So you will be able to handle that. And also, because of the nature of your work, my work, I work online, and many times I can't have background noises and all of those things. There are certain things I put in place for the people that help me to understand how to serve me, so that I can still be the effective parent that I am. So I want to stop here so that I can be able to I was going to give some more examples, but I think I'll leave that so that I can attend to questions. So the question that I read earlier said, how do you manage a chore in the family? If I understand that question, because I thought it was going to stay up there. Okay, how do we manage choice and role in the family? Okay, if I understand you well, this question, when you say how do we manage choice and role, because basically this is what I've been talking about all day. I think as parents, there should be no difference in our roles, except from the biological aspect. The fact that is the man that plants the seed, the woman carries, and then the woman brings to birth, the woman will nurse the baby, and all of that. That's the only place where we have difference in our roles. Okay. how to come to that point where we are uniform in the role is that we have conversations around what our parenting responsibility has brought or presented at every point in time. Let's have conversations. We come to an agreement. So we're not doing this. I know that many people thought this. They say, oh, so that you don't do this in front of your children, you don't argue. No, no, no. We do this because both of us must not, it's not just about, I'm telling you that when I get here, this is what you should say. No, it's so that we can understand where we're both coming from, what we both want to achieve, and find the middle ground that helps us to act as one. So a parent in the house is a parent. I also know that they say that, and some people say, even, okay, let me just say, even when you have, they say things like a parent is more stern than the other one. One I've heard is funny though, but I don't like it anymore. You know, say that this one flogs, this one does not flog, this one beat, this one doesn't beat, and all of those things. We have not yet achieved that role of oneness. We need to come to that point where our children know that this is the parenting, this is our parent. So whether it is mommy or it is daddy, they know that this is how we handle issues. Generally, that's that. Then for chore, this one should be determined by the personalities involved. So I'd rather use personality now and not just say man or woman. Okay, now there are certain things that my husband will never get, or maybe we'll never say never, but I'm just saying I have just come to that. Let's just leave it as that. And then there are certain things I will never get, no matter how. For instance, my youngest child, that is a girl, can sit with any adult man and actually discuss football clubs. I mean, I listen to my husband, I watch football, but I think I get too serious about it. So I try to avoid watching football. And unless I really need to learn something, or I need to get into gist, or maybe it's a particular tournament that I really am interested in, I am not interested in where Lewandowski is playing for Man City or whatever. As you can kukuma hear me now, so you know whatever. But my child can have a conversation that way. Now, I will not be able to teach her that, but it is not something we just happened on. It's something we decided from our roles that we are going to expose our children consciously to things that will not normally show up in our environment, but we want them to have. And that has led us to coming from our different personalities. They have PS, I don't even know the version they have right now. When they say my voice will be screaming, they'll be excited. I don't know what it is, God help me. But you know, that's part of the things I've just left. My head does not just carry those kind of things. I just do, because it's not in my business as far as I'm concerned. I am not exactly a game person. Pad, play, I'm not. My husband is. You know, so whenever they want to play, they don't come and meet me and say, Mom, can we use this now? Do you mind us if we get playing? But my husband will always say yes. Now, I have learned that anytime they come to me, it will always be no. He will say yes. And I know that if it is always no from me, then they will not get the kind of, the kind of entertainment exposure, whatever they needed from that. And I will just bring them down to just who I am. So the role must follow oneness. Both of us must be able to understand. Understand is really important. Understand where we are both coming from. There was a time when I didn't like flogging because I have seen people being brutalized several times, and that does something to me mentally. So the way I react to someone being spanked is as though you actually shot someone. So there was a time when we had to actually discuss what this thing means. And then there are things I needed to deal with. So both of us can come together and understand this is the role, this is what we need to do. We have a one front thing with our kids. And then when it now comes to chores, we divide it according to our personalities. You know, I don't do all the cooking in my house, but there are certain things that my husband can never do in the kitchen, no matter what he knows how to do. It is not a function of because I'm a woman. It's just what I'm wired to do. He has interest in more intercontinental dishes, and whenever he wants to relax, he can do things like that, And sometimes he does that not because he wants to do it, but because the nature of my work means that sometimes I'm talking to people at night. So he will probably have to put kids to bed. And then there was a time when his business makes him travel a lot. So it means that I was always available. I learned how to service generate, how to change oil. I learned, so there are no, the management of chores should be based on the personalities in the house, having determined the kind of role or parents that we want to be to our children. So the management of it will be based on the personalities involved. And personalities will involve your career, it will involve your financial stand too, yes. It will involve even your mental capacity, emotional capacity. These are the things we must look into. Some people just take it for granted. They say, it's the mother that knows how to. Until when my husband was in that time of his business, when he was always out, I didn't used to know the prescription, they write on the medicine what time the children will take it. I don't like taking medicine. I don't like taking medications. My husband will go as far as tasting every drug, put it in his mouth to see how he feels before he start administering. I can't do it. So he will be the one. So sometimes he will be on the road and I'll be calling, how is he supposed to take this? How is she supposed to take this? So after some time, I stopped struggling with trying to administer drugs. I just left it to him. But when the time came and he was no longer that available, I became someone that was more present to be doing all of those things, and then, reshuffle whatever I was doing before that won't allow me do that. Now, while he can do that with administering drugs, I'm the woman that can sleep in the hospital for 2 weeks under the bed, no matter what. If any member of my family, it doesn't matter where I'm working from, I can work from under the hospital bed. I am that tenacious. So the management of the chores must be based on the personalities. My husband is not good with some certain things, and it will be maddening to just keep on foistering it on him. And there are some things I'm good at only because it serves me personally. If I continue to go over and over it over and over again, we are not doing this thing, you are not doing this thing, I will just stress myself. So I learn more about the things that he can do, including my children. One, I already know that may God just bless this guy quickly, because he's going to just employ people to be to be running errands for him. I understand his personality. While I'm not trying to totally change who God may have made him to be, I have gone into the place of understanding how he can work into our family system. So I just don't make some things too complex for him to understand. And one of my child can actually get into, he wants to be an inventor anyway, and I think he just attacks everything that he does that way. He's always looking for way and figuring out how to solve some things and all of those things. But this one doesn't care. If you are willing to do it for him, please just do it. He will not help you to drag chores. So all I can do is just help him to manage his personality to still become responsible. So, and I hope that answered the question. I was waiting probably more question. If I answered your question, let me know, please. If there are more questions, I am available to take that. Thank you so much. I can't hear you. Please unmute. I can't hear you.
This is a bomb. My goodness. This is a bomb. Thank you
Wow.
so very much.
Thank you so
Like
much
my
for
note
having
is
me.
filled up. Like I've
I'm
been in
still
the
learning
background.
from Proactive Parent Academy.
Yes, I've been in the background taking notes, and I know that many of us are also taking notes like that. I have I
Thank you
have
for the time.
one of the parents who put in the comment section, okay, let me show you, because this is what I have also trained many of our parents to learn to do. Taking notes
Mm,
and going through them afterwards.
yeah, that's
She said,
yeah,
understanding and knowing our purpose, that is what
yeah.
we do in the Build Your Home Tribe with Coach Vivian,
Mm,
parenting with self-discovery. You
God
know,
bless you.
that gave me, like, I was happy, kind of, because many times we just get these informations and we don't even know how to process it and start putting them into
Mm.
practice. But if you
Mm.
put them down, you can actually go back to them,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
yeah, and go
Yes,
through
ma'am.
again. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So I'm going to be bringing our moderator is here. He was supposed to be the one to moderate today, but I didn't also
Good
see him on
afternoon,
time. So I
sir.
needed to bring
Hello,
G
good
for
afternoon, madam. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you
I,
too?
I must confess I enjoyed every session of it. I was
Wow, I'm
yeah.
glad.
alternating between YouTube and coming up here, try to share, coming
Oh,
up here.
oh.
Honestly, you're so amazing. Thank you for your
Thank you
time
so
and
much, sir.
thank
Thank you
you
so
for
much.
Honestly, it was
honoring
so
to be part of
practical.
this conference. Yeah,
It was
honestly,
so practical.
it wasn't every of your teaching. There was nothing attractive about it. It was like you are just pouring yourself out,
Yes,
pouring out your
yes,
experiences,
Thank God.
and
yes,
every of your
yes,
teaching are applicable all around. Thank
yes.
you very
Thank
She
much.
God.
did.
Thank you
She
so
Mm,
did.
much. I
She did
appreciate
for
that
herself.
feedback.
thank you.
She did for
Thank you
herself.
for having me, my
You're welcome.
sister.
Someone said, can you see the
So,
screen?
Yes,
yeah, he
I've
said
been
I have been
getting
getting it
into.
wrongly by not understanding my pace. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
man. Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
I'm glad. I'm glad
Mm,
now you get it right. Oh, pace is important. We
mm.
will not. There's a way they say it in my adage. Ma saire elere, ma wago alago sise. Okay.
You are getting us confused now.
Okay. But Yoruba says, um,
Okay.
don't watch someone else's time. Don't use someone else's watch to do
Mm.
what you have to do. Yoruba is well, African
Yeah,
languages
yeah, yeah.
anyway. So
Mm.
that's just it. So don't run another man's race, basically. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank you
glad.
very much. Very, very much.
Oh, thank you. I'm reading it all. Oh.
Yeah,
Thank
Allah
you.
to see. Sorry if I pronounced that name well. Tomito Bay said very explosive session. Thank you very much for your comments
Uh,
and for your
mm,
compliment.
thank you. Thank you.
So, ma, we are very grateful. So, Mr. Alex, you can give us the
Okay,
concluding thanks.
okay. Thank you, madam, for your time. Honestly, because you can get the feedback already, and I hope other people are going to watch who were not part of this session, and we get the feedback to you and maybe respond to them. So, hello everyone. This is the first session for today. I
So
think
can
the
I
second
hear?
session is yes, please. You
Yes.
can. Yeah, this is the first session for today, and I hope we just get warm up. This is just a warming up section for every one of us. And the second guy that is coming up is going to be very, very explosive. Yeah, this is explosive, but that one is going to be more explosive because we are transcending, we are not descending. So I just want you to hang on to join us. Other people who are not here right now, share to your friends, share to your neighbors, let them understand where you are getting your information from. It's free. You're not paying anything for it, just that you will use data, but it will worth your time.
Okay, so we'll be leaving the stage for you in the next session so you can continue from where he stops.
Okay.